Hello, I'm Professor Dr. Sania Sofra, two doctorates, one in neurophysiology, one in clinical psych from New York and London. And Nika Desho, she's going to be interviewing.
Hello, everybody. Yes, today I really want to talk about it. What 5 reasons why people gain weight and fat, and where it hides forever.
Other than eating a lot.
Yeah,
and not exercising. Because we tell them to be on a diet and exercise, but nobody wants to do that, right? So basically, it's worse than that. It's as we're aging, the hormones are declining. And when the hormones declining, you burn less fat, you utilize less fat to kind of do all the functions during the day, to even breathe or walk or do anything, really. You utilize fat for all these functions. Well, also, you have the basal metabolic range that in your age, you're 26, right?
Yeah.
It's really high. In my age, I'm 71, it's extremely low unless you do the virtual gym. Because the virtual gym will increase the basal metabolic range by 91%, whereas the gym will only increase it by 15%.
Wow.
So there is a huge difference. So people gain weight because the basal metabolic rate is much lower and because their hormones are not optimized, they're imbalanced. Even if you have hormones within the normal range, your hormones are not optimized. And that is the trick, to optimize hormones, to boost your metabolism, to reduce your hunger because you're hungry because you're toxic. The more toxic you are, the more hungry you are. And your leptin and ghrelin, which is the appetite and the kind of oesogenic and the hormones, they are imbalanced. So you're always hungry.
So hormone is the first cause.
That's right. The hormones is the first reason why people put on weight because the metabolism is much slower. And also leptin and ghrelin are in a walk. So they're hungry. And as you're aging, toxicity and inflammation increases. Now, in anti-aging medicine, we have what we call the inflammaging. What's that? It's increased inflammation and toxicity. Well, the more toxic you are, the more hungry you are.
Wow.
You're hungry, you're going to eat. Whereas with the virtual gym, it balances your hormones and you're not hungry. Your hunger is suppressed. Well, that's great. You see, I can go all day without eating, right? See?
Yeah, it's true.
So
many people say they get fat even when they anxious or not even eating them much.
That's right, because that's the hormones. That's the hormones. Even if they don't eat that much, where people cheat, okay? They eat out of the refrigerator, they eat standing up, and they say, I haven't eaten anything. No, they're still eating a lot, but they don't really calculate it. So that's one way, okay, of kind of lying to themselves and everyone else. But also, it's the hormonal problem and the basal metabolic rate. That is the main problem. And once you have visceral fat after the age of 45, you cannot lose your visceral fat in the gym. You're going to have to break your back. And even then, you're not going to lose your fat. The only thing that you can do is the virtual gym. You have no other choice, really.
You often talk about inflammation as the hidden cause. How does it make us gain weight, the inflammation?
Inflammation is associated with toxicity. So inflammation, low-grade inflammation, is the reason why we get all these diseases, like diabetes, for example, is the result of low-grade inflammation, heart disorders. When your health is decreased, you cannot exactly go to the gym and exercise. You cannot walk. You cannot do anything. Your back hurts. Inflammation creates pain. Pain creates immobility. Immobility creates fat. So it's all interconnected, basically.
And what about emotional habits? can the mind make us stir fat?
Emotional habits are also, you see, cortisol is at the basis of this. Cortisol is what we call the stress hormone, the fear hormone, if you like. Well, the stress, when you're aging, your cortisol is going to go up. Well, as the cortisol goes up, you become more insecure, you become more kind of angry at yourself and everyone else. So your emotional state, in the book that I wrote, The Rhythm of Youth, I'm talking about how emotion affects the body and how the body affects the psychological and emotional status. So the body, increases the cortisol, and the mind, if you're depressed and if you're anxious, you're not going to say, okay, I'm going to go and work out in the gym. Some people can do that at an earlier age, your age. In my age, you're debilitated. I'm not, but
No,
I'm talking about my age, which is not really my biological age. My biological age is 30 years younger.
Wow.
And that is what the virtual gym does. It decreases your biological age. So you can be 71 like me, and your body is acting as if it's 35, 39. That's major. That means my life is going to be extended.
So,
and when you
live
get my
longer.
age, you start thinking about how many years am I going to live? So
and
it's
how
very
I'm gonna
important.
live,
And how I'm going to live. What's the quality of my life?
how it's going to be. So the hardest fat to remove is the
Visceral fat.
visceral.
That's under the muscle.
Mm.
And what it does, it wraps itself around the vital organs and invades them. You know how the fat invades the muscle? That's why lasers and RF don't work. Why? Because the fat invades the muscle. If they burn the fat, they're going to burn the muscle. It's going to be a bad thing. It's not a good thing. They don't do anything anyway, thank God. Otherwise, a lot of people would be suffering very badly. They just burn water. So
Okay.
you lose a little bit, with a measuring tape, but they don't really do anything. And the fat rebounds immediately. But the visceral fat is under the muscle. So lasers RF cannot reach it. Well, they could, but then you're dead.
Then, wow.
Because it's going to basically burn your vital organs. So the problem is that it invades vital organs like fatty liver. And with this technology, we have a lot of studies that we saw a significant improvement. Everybody improved. And 80% of the subjects got normal liver after 15 treatments. You need a lot of treatments, obviously, but it's a major thing. In sonography reports.
Wow.
Yeah. And I have a lot of studies that published online. You can go to fatty liver and put my name, Sanya fatty liver. You're going to see all the studies there.
So most of the things is about signal on
The signal.
signal about the body.
This is not, muscle stimulators, they basically go to the muscle. Okay, or they even go to the nerves that control the muscle. This one goes to the brain. It's a signal that is carried to the brain. Once the brain is involved, it controls hormones. Once hormones are controlled, because you can inject hormones, but what happens? You don't know how much. You say the dosage is, for this age, is that much dosage. It's like you're guessing. It's not really tailored. This one is your own hormones that your brain will not only calculate how much you need, but will have a feedback loop to stop when you have too much. Because too much is bad.
It's bad, yeah.
You have to be within an optimal value. Not within the normal range, but an optimization of the hormones means that they're balanced. Because within the normal range, you can still have imbalance. You can have cortisol towards the top of the normal range. You can have testosterone towards the bottom of the normal range. You're still imbalanced, even though it's within the normal range. So that's not going to help you. You're still going to put on weight and you're still going to be unhappy. And the hormones are involved, they have to do with feelings. Also, your gut. Serotonin, which is very vital for all mental illness, is produced in the gut. And there is a gut-brain axis. And if that's imbalanced, everything is going to go down the drain.
Exactly. That's what great.
Yeah, I just gave a lecture on brain and gut axis. I gave it in Thailand, in China, in Paris, in London. A lot of, there's a lot of interest now for the gut.
Because people start to understand.
People started to understand, Dubai as well. That was one of my lectures in Dubai, in AMWC. So the gut and how important it is. And, when dysbiosis that we call it. All those are very important aspects of why you put on weight, because it's not putting on weight, it's that you're unhealthy. That is the point.
Amazing. And what people another